is up, party people? All right, so today's gonna be a fun one. So let me give you the backing of where this is coming from and why it's happening. So obviously, we've had a lot of earthquakes in Puerto Rico. Our buddy Jose has a lot of family out there, and knowing that I do a lot of my research on weather modification and these weather are these weapons that possibly exist or not. I told him I'd look into it, and you guys know how I roll. Once I see something, I want to get it out. There are things that I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Puerto Rican earthquakes are man-made, but I do feel that I have some evidence that shows the possibility of it. I can show you the differences in different types of earthquakes that we do see and record. I'm going to share the links, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. It's not going to be just talking, so you guys will be able to get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. I got Digital and No Name are in the panel right now over at the bunker. If you guys want to join with that, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my bot gets the link out to you guys. Out there, one thing I knew I've forgotten. But like I said, this stream isn't going to be. I'm not sitting here going to tell you guys for 100% fact that these earthquakes are man-made. But hey, well, let's see what you guys think. I'm going to go ahead and open up the panel real quick and get everything going. All right, here we go. Perfect. So, bot is working out there. All right, perfect. All right, go ahead and get to the panel. We kind of started talking, so we're going to be repeating ourselves, kind of. So don't get too upset about that. All right, what's up, guys? Stuff, just a little bit of stuff. Oh, I'm going to censor him. Okay, so basically, I've kind of given the chat the rundown on what I'm talking about and what's going on. But we had kind of gone back and forth, and No Name, you had brought up a good point that kind of reiterates where I'm coming from this. I'm not coming at it as I'm telling everyone right now. Puerto Rico, Haiti, and all these earthquakes that have happened are man-made, but I would like to show you guys why I perceive it to be a possibility. You had said something, No Name, about the evidence. You want to go ahead and repeat on that? Okay. So, and that absolutely not. Ah, Jesus Christ! Did I really? Give me. So
It's
No
all
Name.
Digital's fault.
Yeah, it's Digital's fault. My bad, guys. Go ahead and start over. No Name.
Damn it! That's the third time I'll have to say this.
Yep, this is the third time. I told you you'd have to repeat it.
Damn it!
You shouldn't have started.
All right, let me
Should have taken
collect.
Cliff Notes.
I know, right? All right, let me collect my thoughts. All right, so Sean is not arguing, folks. Let me reiterate this: that this is in fact the case. He's simply arguing that it's a possibility, and I'm not necessarily arguing that it's not a possibility either. I'm just asking about standards of evidence. Is it an unfair standard of evidence to ask for, say, evidence of these the same amount of munitions required to create these effects happening on these daily basis? I probably screwed it up this time around. I can get news reports and reports from individuals living on the island of Puerto Rico of these events happening every day, right?
Mhm.
But I can only get video of the U.S. supposedly causing a 3.6 liter magnitude earthquake for like a few seconds. So how much, like if you had to scale that up, and extrapolate from there, like how much you'd need. I'd kind of need that standard of evidence.
Okay, perfect. I get what you're saying. Okay, so basically, what it comes down to is the idea that you're saying that if it were to be a man-made earthquake, how many times would they basically have to be setting these things off to make an earthquake occur? The
Yes.
biggest aspect of an earthquake that a lot of people don't understand, especially people that don't live in an earthquake place, is what triggers earthquakes. So if a fault line triggers and you have an epicenter of an earthquake, as it spans out, it will trigger other earthquakes. It will trigger other seismic activity, basically. The same way an aftershock happens. So so one earthquake or one natural earthquake or a nuclear test, as in the report I'm going to show everyone right now. Actually, I'll click over so you guys can see what we're kind of talking about. Or a nuclear test that causes an earthquake, you'll see a certain response from how the P waves and S waves work, the seismic readings. You don't need to trigger one every time. If in the case of man-made, you would only need to trigger a fault once, and that can just start racking up the seismic readings and over time. The report that I got that No Name is basically talking about is this one here. I'm showing everyone on YouTube. You guys can see it if you click my live. It says offshore naval weapons testing causes Florida earthquake. It says last July 16th, and this is actually from 2016. Last July 16th, seismographs from the United States Geological Survey reported a 3.7 magnitude earthquake 104 miles northwest of Daytona Beach. Surprisingly, it didn't take long for the Navy to claim responsibility. It seems offshore naval weapons testing that include a shock trail on the USS Jackson was to blame. I don't want to play the blast because I will get copyright. I'm starting to get copyright a lot now. It says the USS Jackson has been testing in order to measure its ability to withstand the effects of underwater explosions. The ship is a new class of combat ship. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so in that case, like you said, No Name, you want the clarification between what it would take to cause these numerous ongoing earthquakes. The same situation can happen where you get a 3.7, and if you are near a fault line, it could trigger more reactions. It will cause more plate movement.
Okay. I can get behind that. That's a fair assertion, I would think.
Okay, so in that, I'm not saying again, I'm not saying the Puerto Rican earthquakes are man-made, but now I'm going to start going into the ideas of why I feel it's more man-made, because it's really important that we figure that part out. Let me go ahead and show the next one real quick. I'll put this link in the chat. All of the chats.
Yeah, just a quick thing. Tectonic plates don't normally shift for 2 weeks.
Say again?
So the shifting of tectonic plates, which is usually what causes earthquakes, right? From what I've read, lasting 2 weeks is unprecedented.
No.
No. To the strengths, to the strengths that are happening.
Okay.
It's unprecedented.
But remember, the epicenter of an earthquake, basically the beginning of an earthquake, usually what we see is the strongest one. It can trigger other faults. It can trigger other areas of the plate to move. Because when we think of the plate moving, we're thinking that whole plate is moving. If you're looking at the Ring of Fire, it's basically in the Pacific. No one who does, if you don't know, Pacific Ocean, it's a ring of fire. It's where most volcanoes are. The whole plate doesn't move. It's sections of that plate, kind of as if you put 2 pieces of wood and only a corner moved, but the other piece stayed against it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not that one plate that moves. It's also the plates around it that shift too.
Yeah, plates,
and that's what people forget.
Yeah, exactly.
Like how they say California is soon going to detach from the US.
Yeah, I love that one. But what you said is actually also a very correct statement in the fact that what we normally see, for instance, I live in California. I've been through many earthquakes. Lived in the mountains where it was on rock. Felt hundreds. The thing is like what you said, where we don't see it lasting weeks on end. is because what would normally happen is that plate would move, or if the plate moves or a fault line triggers, it will run the line of that plate, as it's shifting, it's moving. To have an earthquake like we're seeing in Puerto Rico, where it's sixes, fives, fours, sixes, and it's been lasting a long time, gives me the reason to think, why is this happening? To me, it doesn't seem natural. And let me show you guys some images. Because one of the big things that I've noticed on it is, so what I'm going to show right now, and I got to figure out a way to show you guys. Okay, so what they're looking at, and you guys will see in a second. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to get you guys this live as good as I want. Oh, perfect. All right, there you go. Now you guys will be able to see exactly what I'm doing on YouTube. Okay, so what we're looking at right now is what the USGS seismic readings show. What you're looking at right now is a normal natural earthquake. You see how it has those lines in it, the fault line runs of the readings? See that? Yes. No.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. This would be what we're looking at as signs of a natural fault line earthquake. Now, when we move over to, and this is, let me, I kind of should have prefaced this a little bit more. We know nuclear testing can trigger earthquakes, right? Now,
North Korea proved it.
100%.
Oh yeah,
that's another one I have to show. Now, like I said, this is a natural earthquake. This is along fault lines. We see them. All those purple lines are little faults. When we go to, I think it's this one. Oh, yeah, we'll use this one. This is the current Puerto Rican one. I'll show right now. But we're not looking at the same situation. We're looking at an epicenter of earthquakes that is locally based into one area, right? This isn't what we normally see. This, just so you guys can understand where I'm coming from. What you're looking at now is the current Puerto Rican earthquakes that we're having over these numerous days, versus an earthquake that is basically what we would assume we see. This is more official, just in case you wanted to be more official. Next one I wanted to show you is the Haiti one. And that one from Haiti, and from 2010, and mind you, the 2010 Haiti earthquake was very much so, how do you say this? A lot of countries came out and said that the U.S. was behind it. I'm not sure if you guys have actually seen that video. I'll go ahead and play it, actually. So that one is good to go. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to play this.
And Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez has once again
I forgot I was going to do a lot of sharing today.
Sharing is caring.
No, it's Sean's fault.
Always my fault.
Is it?
Okay, we'll play it. I'll do it here. Perfect. All right, so this is a video. Start it over.
And Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez has once again accused the United States of playing God. But this time it's Haiti's disastrous earthquake that he thinks the U.S. was behind. Spanish newspaper ABC quotes Chavez as saying that the U.S. Navy launched a weapon capable of inducing a powerful earthquake off the shore of Haiti. He adds that this time it was only a drill, and the final target is destroying and taking over Iran. The existence of a tectonic weapon has never been proved, but its use is often suspected by conspiracy theorists. For example, the leader of Georgia's Green Party accused Russia of being behind an earthquake on Georgian territory in 2002.
Okay, so that You guys didn't hear that, did you?
Nope.
Nope, I didn't. All right, well, hang on. Not sure. Here we go. Okay, I see how.
And Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez has once again accused the United States of playing God.
All right, here we go. Now you guys will be able to hear. For you guys in this, sorry.
I can hear it.
Here we go. Now you guys will be able to. There's where I want to be. There we go. Now you guys will be able to watch it. There you go. All right, sorry if you guys hate watching it again, but we're going to watch so everyone on the panel can know what's going on. If you guys hit the live link, you'll be able to watch.
But this time it's Haiti's disastrous earthquake that he thinks the U.S. was behind. Spanish newspaper ABC quotes Chavez as saying that the U.S. Navy launched a weapon capable of inducing a powerful earthquake off the shore of Haiti. He adds that this time it was only a drill, and the final target is destroying and taking over Iran. The existence of a tectonic weapon has never been proved, but its use is often suspected by conspiracy theorists. For example, the leader of Georgia's Green Party accused Russia of being behind an earthquake on Georgian territory in two.
All right, so you guys you heard that one, right? Correct. Okay, well, okay. Yep. All right, so like I said, it's not just off speculation and thinking, hey, conspiracy, let's run into it. These are things that are actually been going on, talking about. I'm going to go ahead and share some sources. And in this, we'll be able to see a little bit more what I'm talking about. This is the website I want to go to. So this is one of the ones that kind of really showed me where I need to be looking towards. Now, what we're looking at right now is the weather weapons and earthquake bombs. World leaders condemn Britain and America's secret arsenal. Yes, this is a conspiracy site, but what I'm going to go through right now is the admittance of what's going on. For instance, here in, so you guys aren't in the, you guys can go ahead and check it out on the website and the Discord, because I'm going to be just reading little pieces off of it. So I'll share the link with you guys in there, and then go to what I wanted to read to you guys. So here's an article. This is all on the website. It says, 1997, U.S. Defense Secretary William Cartwright admits that the Pentagon's environmental warfare specialists are intensifying our efforts to alter the climate, set off earthquakes, volcanoes remotely through the use of electromagnetic waves. The media fail to report this rather important story and have consistently refused to discuss the giant ionospheric heater in Alaska, high frequency active auroral research program, in which had been condemned by the Europe Parliament for its manipulating of the global weather patterns and makes a serious threat to the environment. There's a video I want to play you guys now that basically explains how this happens. It shows how these frequencies would be able to actually cause an earthquake. it will make a lot more sense to what we're looking at. It'll make a lot more sense to what I'm saying. Let me go ahead and grab that real quick. Play that. I do apologize for the chat. Give me a half a second. I'll be able to get back in there and talk to you guys about what's going on.
First, let me give you a little bit of background on who I am. I'm Dr. Nick Begich. I'm a author and lecturer. I have a doctorate in traditional and complementary medicine. I was born and raised and spent most of my life here in Alaska. I also work as the executive director for the Lay Institute on Technology based in Dallas,
found an interesting article about
main mission
Rico
educate
Trench.
the public
I'd like to
on
read
the
some
impacts
of
and repercussions of technology so that we can be prepared.
Oh, no, I mean, not right now.
The first topic today that we want to cover is updates on the HAARP story, the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, which many people are familiar with. This project initially was a joint effort of the Air Force and Navy to build large radio transmitters here in Alaska. These transmitters would occupy huge area. Initially, it was 48 antennae in the array. These are antennas that are 72 feet tall, have a cross dipole, so across the top you'll see this type of a shape. These are about 70 feet across. There's 48 in the array. Eventually, at the end of this coming summer of 2005, we'll be seeing 180 antennae in the array. Eventually, the full array will be 360 antennae. The idea between these radio frequency generators is to focus radio frequency energy in a much different way than most of us think about radio frequency energy coming off of an antenna, if we think of it at all. But when you think about it, when you go back to the original companies that started this project, it was a company called Arco Power Technologies, Inc., which was a subsidiary of Atlantic Richfield, one of the largest oil and gas companies at that time operating in Alaska. They sold that subsidiary to E-Systems, which is a military contractor, a large military contractor based in Washington, D.C., who later sold it to Raytheon, who later sold it to British Aerospace, which now controls that technology. But in the course of that, one of the things that they had talked about was what's called earth-penetrating tomography. This is the idea of sending a signal up into the ionosphere, oscillating that signal off the ionosphere, which actually causes that layer 30 miles above the Earth's surface to begin to vibrate in harmony with the signal on the ground, causing it to act as a giant broadcast antenna, sending that signal back down to the Earth, and it passes through the Earth and sea in the form of an ELF, an extremely low frequency signal, a very long wavelength that efficiently passes through the Earth, and that can be used for a number of things, including earth-penetrating tomography, the idea of looking into the Earth, or in plain language, it would be like, by comparison, X-raying the Earth, or looking into the Earth for underground mineral layers, underground shelters, nuclear facilities, and the like. Brooks' concern was much broader in terms of what could be triggered with earth-penetrating tomography. And one of the things that he noted was the effect of resonance, this idea of sending energy in, it harmonizes in a way that causes the energy actually to be more than the sum of the total. You know, it's like the old World War I stories where the armies were marching across wooden bridges in Europe, and some hours after they had marched across, the bridges would just collapse. And it was the rhythmic beat of the march across that bridge that set up essentially a vibration that eventually collapsed the entire structure. This idea of resonance, when applied to earth-penetrating tomography at very high power levels, causes concern for many scientists, including Brooks Agnew, because what he believes is possible is to trigger events within the Earth, geophysical events, earthquake, volcanic eruptions, the kinds of things that may already be on the edge of discharge, and with the right resonant energies added into the system, cause them to overload and actually fracture. In fact, it was William
Okay, no problem, no problem. Did you kind of get the gist of what I was saying about the frequencies and how they would?
Sure.
Okay, well, imagine this. Imagine a rock is sitting on a ledge, right?
Uh-huh.
And you put say a sound system, like a bass system, and you start bumping that bass. You know how the vibrations course through the ground.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That will hypothetically take that rock off its spot, make the rock move. Rock comes down the hill, hits the ground, you feel the boom, right?
Right.
Same aspect as in these how the plates work and fault lines work is what they're saying these frequencies are capable of doing. So if you amped up, so imagine having a sound system in that rock that we just discussed. Well, if you amp up that frequency, it's able to do more. When they do their ground penetrating radar and they use those frequencies, they're basically turning on a subwoofer on a plate.
Right. So what you're saying is that they could have hit the resonant frequency of whatever plate they were on to cause the severe earthquakes?
Yeah, exactly. So there's I can't find it. I'm making right. There's a video I'm trying to find it right now, but the guy literally makes a little half-ass model and he shows exactly how that works. Yeah, basically that's exactly what I'm saying. If you have a hard enough frequency, that will happen.
Okay. And is that a testable hypothesis? Is that something that we could find other evidence of and see it in action?
Well, what do you mean? Is that what I just explained? I mean, we can. You can get a subwoofer and a rock and some sand and do it for yourself. That's what the guy did.
It's not hard to set up. You could use anything that you could figure the frequency for.
Okay.
And again, and just knowing that, it doesn't say that's man-made, but it does show the capabilities of what we can do.
Right, and just like you can find the right resonant frequencies and watch glass flake and wave like water, I'm sure there's a resonant frequency for the Earth itself.
It doesn't have to be for the Earth; it just has to be for a section.
Yeah,
right.
It's the brown noise.
Haha, digital. Digital said it was the brown noise.
But you guys see what I'm coming from? It's not a situation of they did it. It's a situation of they do have the capabilities.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and finish reading off a couple of those other admittance, I guess you would say.
Just a quick thing, Sean.
Yes.
Okay. So reading up on the Adelaide 1954 earthquake that was magnitude 5.6, it was a fault line, but it's not tectonic.
What is it? Well, it'd be more. Depends on what were they doing in that time.
Well, Australia sits in the middle of the oceanic plate.
Okay, so then it will get a tremor from it. The fault lines would come from that, though.
Oh no! The epicenter was in Darlington, which is north of the city.
The epicenter of it?
Yep, that's where the biggest strength of that earthquake was felt.
And there is a fault line. Yeah,
it's a fault line, not tectonic though.
Okay, so a fault line works the same way.
It's fractures in the tectonic plate that shift.
Yes, and that can.
And this is where I think you're getting to. Is it's not just the tectonic shift. It's the little fractures in those plates that are causing those multiple earthquakes.
Exactly. A lot of earthquakes are mainly, put it this way, if we only had earthquakes from the plates themselves, we'd have some serious earthquakes nonstop. The ones we normally feel most likely are from fractures off the tectonic plate. Yeah, that's something I actually should have clarified.
Because most tectonic plates cause tsunamis.
Offshore.
When they make tectonic shift. Tectonic shift in the oceans will cause tsunamis. But if it's just a fault line, you're not likely to get.
You can. You just wouldn't be large. For instance, there's a lot of
Yeah.
tsunamis that just don't make it anywhere. We could have a tsunami in the Pacific Ocean that just doesn't hit the coast, doesn't make it to the coast. It's not strong enough. Go ahead and read those other ones. Oh, this is one I wanted to read.
Nicholas, can you say good morning, Sean?
Good morning, Sean.
Morning. How you doing, buddy?
You say, I'm doing good, Sean.
I have good song.
That's cute.
Just sort of bring a smile to your face, mate.
Of course, of course. All right, so this is one of the things, one of the red flags that I found. This is a report. I'm going to go ahead and read it for you guys in the Discord. It says, weather weapons and earthquake bombs are a fraction of the America's commitment to achieve full spectrum dominance by 2020. We need to be responsible and realize that taxes have paid for decades of secret research into the fields in which, in our time, are coming of fruition. We need to show the Curtis Chavez and the other ones that have spoke out, basically. And then there's one more. Oh, just to open talk about it. Red.
Open tacos.
Yeah.
I thought you said we were just going to go into open tacos about it.
Oh, of course. Let's see.
Tacos.
Now, from what you guys are getting from what I know you say. Do you see the validation in which looking at it makes sense?
I can see where we would look at it, but I would need to track down more of a cause of what could have caused the vibrations that led to that frequency being hit, or if it was a.
Well, couldn't you also say at the same time, like the first article I went through was the one where the Navy had admitted to using, doing the nuclear testing that had caused an earthquake of 3.7 in Florida.
I could definitely see it as a plausible military operation. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't have evidence one way or the other. Right?
I do. I've got some. The only way the US knew that North Korea were testing nuclear bombs is because of S-waves.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. It's not always. See, and that's kind of one of the things that red flags for me.
North Korea fractured the crust underneath the mountain.
I know. It's huge. The thing is though, when you're talking about that, to me, the U.S. saying, "Hey, we're nuclear testing. That's what caused 3.7." But at the same time, there are, and I know a lot of you guys hate this, the multiple amounts of patents for earthquake weapons. It shows right off the bat to me that it's going to give more lead to why they would come out and go, oh no, it's nuclear testing. It only happens like this. Those ones, that one didn't trigger multiple ones, but like we were saying earlier, just because it doesn't trigger another epicenter, there are going to be, going to be the tremors that come after.
Yes. Yes, sure. I understand. I'm following your logic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm following your logic, mate.
Yep. But just all I wanted to ask. Just wanted to see if everyone was on the same page, basically. I'm in the chat now, so if you guys had questions in the chat, let me. I do apologize. I got it very kind of hard to present talking.
Sorry, I triggered Chris.
I'm like, that's why I've even brought that up. I didn't care what's going on there. The idea that the military, any military, is capable of doing this is huge. I've gone over multiple times about weather weapons and their use of them, cloud seeding, whether it be to use as a weapon or to utilize the opportunities that we can make from it. I think cloud seeding is a is this is okay to alter the weather type situation that hides geoengineering. Feel that nuclear testing and we caused this is another blanket for the earthquake weapons that are patented. Whether people like it or not, I'm sorry. You can say, it's patented doesn't mean it's true. You're right. But it's patented, which means people of higher power, with higher power, money, knowledge of how, are capable of making these things happen, in my opinion. G Hammer in the chat, in Puerto Rico, they're having earthquakes, I think, right now. The average is like 3 to 4 a day, I believe.
Yeah, it's way up there for that area.
And it has been going on for 2 weeks. Like I was saying, that is a big concern to me in the fact that you see these earthquakes, what happens is the epicenter, then it fans out until it weakens out. And it may trigger different faults, and you'll get another epicenter somewhere. But the problem with Puerto Rico is every earthquake is literally in one location. Not one location, but one area on a fault. Not even a fault. Or not even a plate fault. It's on a fault.
Right. I'll be honest, I just haven't looked into the actual Puerto Rico, I haven't looked into them.
Yeah, and that was the other thing that kind of, again, I'm still fresh into the research of this. About a week ago, Jose wanted me to start looking into it, and so I did. These are some of the things I'm coming across, and I just kind of wanted to get it out there, so it's a topic. People can look into it. Earlier, I said something before I went live, and people were going, source. There are so many ways of establishing whether or not something is possible or not, just based on sources. Again, I'm not here to tell you guys this is what's happening. I'm just showing you guys the links into which I believe it's happening, rather than just nuh-uhs and because they said so. It's not always that. Still cut and dry, right?
What would you say your level of confidence in the proposition is?
Which the Puerto Rican earthquake or earthquakes, man-made earthquakes in general?
Puerto Rico in
clue.
particular.
I have zero clue. My evidence.
So you would have no confidence at all.
I would give it 20% confidence that it was man-made, but that's only because of the evidence that I'm seeing. Myself, we both know that I don't have the qualifications to go into a place that has a seismograph and tell you exactly what it means. But and that's why you got to look in multiple places. You can't just look in one spot. They're not, whether it's hiding it or not, all the information you need to figure these things out is going to be spread out. It's not going to be from one place. If I ever come at in the chat and in Discord, if I ever come at you with one source and that's what I've established everything on, just call me on it, because that's not how it works. It can't work that way.
Well, reading up on that Puerto Rico trench, it looks like this has been a long time coming. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that scientists have been warning about the possibility of a naturally occurring earthquake happening for a while.
Oh, of course. But remember when I kind of showed the seismographs and the what I call the epicenter trail. Basically, you see you see what faults they're running along. So basically, you throw a rock at the water, how the ripples fan out. You would think you would see this in Puerto Rico. You would see a fanning of faults where the epicenters are happening. You would see the less and less as it spreads out instead of being in one area only.
See, that's you're talking well over my pay grade now, so I just have to tell you I'll have to get back with you on that.
Absolutely, and that's what I'd rather have people do, because if I'm seeing something wrong, if I'm looking at something not correct, I want to be called on it too. I want people to tell me. I want to understand where I'm wrong in it, because like I said, this is to my understanding of what we're looking at right now. There's a lot more, but it's hard to get out.
it ain't a hill I'm willing to die on either way. I'm agnostic on the whole thing until
okay. If that was the question, if you're talking man-made earthquakes in general, I'll die on that hill.
No, I mean like this was some kind of accidental weapons test that set off a chain of earthquakes in Puerto Rico. I don't find that very likely.
The question I would have is, if it was a chain of weapons testings, why would they all have the same exact epicenter? Whereas if they were a chain, wouldn't the epicenters of the earthquakes be in different locations?
Well, you wouldn't need. Remember, you don't need to. The one that we were looking at that did the one in Florida, that was just one situation. That doesn't mean that a one epicenter can't create more on its own. That you wouldn't need to constantly hit it with weapons to trigger it. Triggering it triggers it.
Oh, I'm sorry. That wasn't what I was arguing. When I said chain, that I was referring to the chain of earthquakes that a singular event possibly could have set off.
Yeah, one singular event can set it off, but when we see that happening, what you normally get is that line of fault lines that are reacting to it.
I'll have to just, for the moment, have to take your word for it and do a little bit more digging into.
I'm not sure if you guys saw it on Discord. Different. No name. This one right here that I'm putting in the Discord. This one that we're looking at is what you would consider to be a normal epicenter situation.
I could see that.
I don't have a baseline, so I'm not arguing
Okay, that's
yes
what
or
you're
no.
saying.
I'm saying I'd have to do more research and knowing. Again, there are so many different mediums when it comes to the composition of the crust of the Earth that you can have like surface quakes. You can have quakes that are, hell, they just found that weird magma chamber that opened up under an island and collapsed. It was causing a weird bell sound. I mean, the Earth is a really malleable surface, and so I don't know what the true normal is for something like that.
What if I told you that they know from situations like these nuclear tests the depth at which it would happen?
I would say that would be pretty good evidence. Again, it might just be correlation as well. Like, oh, it just so happens to have had occurred at the same depth as nuclear tests do. I mean, I'm not being willfully ignorant or anything. I'm just saying that would be good evidence.
When you look up 10 kilometers, 8 miles. If
I look up 8 Mile, I'm going to go down that Eminem rabbit hole, Sean, and I won't be back for 2 hours.
Enjoy. Yeah, but
you don't look anything like Eminem, no name.
A little bit.
I'm just saying, Marshall Mathers is my second spirit animal.
So just remember the 8 to 10 miles. What it is 8 to 10 miles, or explain it better. When we do nuclear testing, when we do things that may have possibly affected whether or not an earthquake happens or not, what we see is the epicenters of these to be at 10 miles. If you look at the normal average earthquake, you're going to see everything from 10 miles or 2 miles to 100 miles, blah, blah, blah. And they're deep. The epicenters of these, where the plates are shifting, happens very, very deep into the earth, right? Well,
I'm saying there's a trench.
Differences between that.
There's a trench directly north, and that trench has Puerto Rico's south of the trench.
No, Puerto Rico's north of that trench.
Okay, maybe I got my bearings crossed.
Yeah, well, yeah, because there's a range of north of Puerto Rico, and then the trench is south. Because Jose had sent much. This is what kind of sparked my interest.
Well, it says here that the island of Puerto Rico lies immediately south of the Puerto Rico Trench. That's wiki though.
I'll show you what. So I just put it in the chat. That one right there. That's what Jose had sent me earlier today. And when I was looking at that, you can see right along down here south of it. That trench. That's what I thought you were talking about. Because when I look at Google Earth, I'm seeing a range north of Puerto Rico. I'll share my Google Earth. See what I mean?
It's just I just don't have enough.
No. And like I said, I'm not pitting you guys to go, Sean, you're right. Sean, you're not right.
No, I'm reading. I'm trying to read this article and make heads or tails of it, but yeah, it's kind of confusing because the name of the trench is the name of the same as the island, but it says here that the island of Puerto Rico, which lies immediately to the south of the fault zone and the trench, suffered a destructive tsunami after the 1918 San Fermin earthquake. And then there's a whole part about the various earthquakes history that's happened there. And there's a part in there about scientists saying that the 2014 earthquake occurred as a result of oblique thrust faulting, but I don't know what that is. So that's what I mean by I'm going to have to do some more digging into this.
It's uneven. It's uneven movement of the plates.
It's okay.
Yeah, ask the guy that's in earthquake country.
Okay.
Yes,
I take your word for it. I'm not arguing with you.
No. And again, like I said, I prefer anyone who wants to go and do their own research. If they seem that I'm not saying something correctly, please let me know.
I'm learning something here. Let's see. It says here preliminary faulting mechanisms for the event indicate it ruptured either a structure dipping shallowly to the south and striking approximately east-west, or near a near vertical structure striking northwest-southeast. At the location of this earthquake, the North America plate moves west-southwest with respect to the Caribbean plate at a velocity of approximately 20 millimeters per year, and subducts beneath the Caribbean plate at the Puerto Rico Trench. The location, depth, and mechanism of the earthquake are consistent with the event occurring on the subduction zone interface. So if they can figure that out, do you think there would be a way for us to test and see if that was the cause this time around? Like that would be my hypothesis if I had to offer one based on previous events.
Jane? So they're saying that in the trench is north. If I'm looking at Google Earth right now, and I'm seeing an enormous trench. Why am I seeing it south? Am I crazy? That's what I don't get. Why am I seeing it south then?
Yeah, buddy, I don't think you understand the scale of this trench. If you'll look up this trench, it's 800 kilometers long and has a maximum depth of about 8,376 meters. So we're 5.2 miles into the Bronson Deep. That's got to be just like something else, some other feature that you're seeing.
Well, if you guys click on the live link, you'll see what I'm looking at right now.
Oh.
Keep up, no name.
Oh, okay, I see what I'm looking at. Okay, so basically Puerto Rico is on that ridge, and what I'm seeing is the other side of that. Okay, so there is a trench, but there's also a trench on the other side as well. It's just not as prominent as the other one. Okay, I see. Well, just so everyone knows, in Jose's picture, I didn't get to see the north. And you got to use headphones, man. You got to use some headphones.
Oh, see, I get shit if I use headphones, and I get shit if I don't. Give me a second.
Well, you're feedbacking big time.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Anyways, it's been happening a while. I just didn't really recognize it or care, but someone in the chat did, so I said something.
See, no,
Still makes
Nate.
sense.
The way it works is Sean can explain earthquakes to us, like me and you can explain tornadoes to him.
Oh yeah, I don't know nothing about tornadoes. Forget that. But that's the gist of what I wanted to talk about. There's going to be a lot more streams that are covering this as we go on. I kind of wanted to give you guys ideas on possibility of man-made even being possible, because I know a lot of people will go, "Fuck, that's bullshit. I don't want to hear it."
I think it would be possible, just like a subwoofer making a glass walk like it's a sheet of water, but I'm not sure the forces that would be required to do.
Mic check.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
Okay. I had to adjust a couple of the sound settings on Discord. I hadn't switched them over from when I was using a crappy Bluetooth.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, and here's the other part of it. The idea, and someone said it earlier. I think it was digital. I think I'm not sure if one of you guys did, but yeah, the idea that these earthquakes are happening on such a frequency in the same center or area over and over and over again over this time, that to me is odd. I don't think I've been through a lot of earthquakes, and I don't remember a time we ever had to deal with earthquakes for 2 weeks in the same place.
Yeah, it does seem like really, really strange for that respect as well. And again, I just don't know enough about geology to really weigh in on that now that I think about it.
It's just Cthulhu.
Cthulhu, is Cthulhu awakening?
Yes.
The dreamer awakens.
What's up, Mel? How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up? How's my audio coming through?
A little muffly, but I can hear you good.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this cheap headset is going to work good for the mic.
It's not too bad. I mean,
But,
it's not bad at all. No one can. If
oh,
anyone
okay.
started talking, it'd be right over you. So I'll make sure no one does.
Yeah, I just hopped over onto the YouTube simulcast, and you said you're wondering why you would deal with two earthquakes in a very short interval of time.
Well, the amount of earthquakes that have happened in Puerto Rico, definitely 2 or 3. That's normal, but they've had a lot
Oh, got it.
the past few weeks, the past couple of weeks.
Okay, cool. Yeah, one thing to remember though, earthquakes often have aftershocks. So if you have a major one, you'll obviously feel some major aftershocks too.
Yeah, but typically, unless they start another fault from doing it, you typically wouldn't see a tremor larger than the epicenter where the epicenter was. We'd see it dissipate as it goes out. So when we start seeing the 6s and then it drops and then we see another 6, that's not going to be the same. That's not going to be a tremor from the epicenter of it.
Oh, right, yeah, I got you. Aftershocks are never stronger than the initial quake. It's just the fault's kind of settling in a little bit more.
Yeah, and then even if we do see, like, if we see a 7, and then we get the aftershocks, but if there were going to be like an 8, we don't see that there. We see it along the fault somewhere else. And in the earthquakes in Puerto Rico, they're just not moving. They're not running a fault. They're not running along a plate like you would normally see. Now, back when we should look at if I can try to find it, but if we looked at the nuclear testing that North Korea did, and you look at where the earthquakes and how the earthquakes were running in Korea, you'll see it looks like a pocket just like Puerto Rico's compared to that fault line that you see running along away from the epicenter.
That's interesting. I didn't even think Puerto Rico was geologically active. It's not along the Ring of Fire, so
It has
I
it
didn't
has a
even know
plate
that
that
region.
runs. I think it's north of it.
Yeah,
Jose just said another
subduction
earthquake
zone.
there.
Yeah, I think Slug or Slurge in the chat said it was a 4.9 just now.
Wow. Yeah,
I mean,
you
isn't
will
it
definitely feel that
unusual
alert.
for aftershocks to last for 2 weeks?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, they can last up to a month either.
yeah, but again, you're going to see like the best example would be Yosemite. You can get a 5.0, and then you'll see the aftershocks. Then there may be a 7 2 or 3 days later. But what we normally see is that this is happening along different fault lines in that area. Whereas in Puerto Rico, it's on a one fault line that's happening only. And Andrea in the chat asked, so looking at the map, it looks like a very big mountain range also underwater. Could these earthquakes be the start of a mega supervolcano trying to push its way through the Earth's crust? I honestly couldn't answer that. I don't know if earthquakes trigger volcanoes. I know generally
Mega super volcano sounds like an awesome name for a band, though.
Well, actually,
just saying.
Actually, an earthquake could trigger. See, I don't think an earthquake can trigger a volcano. I think volcanic activity triggers earthquakes.
Yeah, that's more likely the case.
Yeah, or not. I don't want to say volcano. The magma or the lava, whatever it is, in the canals.
Yeah, well, one of the things that you would look out for is if there's magma chambers in the mantle, like big plumes coming up. If there is, then yeah, there's a chance you could get volcanic activity sometime.
Well, that's the fear of Yosemite right now. They're worried about Yosemite going up because of the fact that it's like that.
I thought that was Yellowstone.
Yellowstone, damn it, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought the magma. I thought
my bad.
I thought the pressure had eased off because the land had literally moved over it, so it had like lessened the threat of a event.
What's called? It's actually last time I was looking at it, the area around the what do they call it? They call it something starts with a C. Brain fart. Basically, the land swelled. I think it was up. I think it was like 18 feet at one point, and then it has been. What it's been doing is going up and down, and it's been doing that for the past 4 or 5 years now. That's when all the scares started.
Oh, okay. I could have sworn I'd read an article where they had seen like a consistent pressure drop over the last 20 years or something. I'll have to go back in the magma chamber.
It was an increase. That's the big word.
An increase. Okay, I thought it was a decrease.
Because they do know these magma pools. They know they're there. That you got to remember. That's where the majority of the Earth's hot springs are. Remember that, people. If you live near a hot springs, there's magma. It's right under your feet.
Red hot magma.
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's more of an alarming. And here's the realization of it. And it took me a while to realize this, and a lot of stuff. Davros actually helped me realize this as well. There's a certain point in which we can go to figure these things out, but there's only a certain point that we can actually get to with the ability of knowledge that we can. I'm sorry, we're not ever. I don't think I'll ever be reporting to you guys that I found the document that proves they cause earthquakes as a weapon. I hope I do. That'd be awesome. But it's hard to. That's the hardest part about what I'm doing. I'm speculating 100%. I know it, but it's evidence to me, and I have to present it right, and hope it's evidence.
Well, for you. It's one of those things where we've been kind of having this discussion for, I don't know, maybe months now, but in my mind it seems to have been crystallized in the form of standard of evidence. And at the end of the day, we have to start figuring out what that is for a baseline for agreeing on like what reality is when you're being fed a lot of information from the internet. And some of the reasons why a lot of times people ask for a citation or something like that is so we can go check it and find out it's not like an Onion News article.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I mean, it's just it's difficult to discern fact from fiction when you're given a kind of a fait accompli cherry pick set of articles, that reinforce or confirm a bias. And I'm not accusing you of doing that. I'm just saying that if you set out to prove something to yourself, then that's often a good way to fool yourself.
Oh, 100%.
If you go into it with the idea of eliminating variables or eliminating possibilities, then I think you can maybe come to a better conclusion that way.
Exactly.
And that's all I'm arguing.
Are you saying my pineapple citation from Spoon University is not correct?
It's an onion.
Bullshit.
But the thing is, you have to be able to. Yeah, you have to be able to wiggle that variable, right? And if you can't wiggle it,
you got to wiggle it just a little bit. That song always jumps into my head.
But the main thing of what I'm doing isn't to convince anybody. It's just giving you guys the evidence that I've found so far versus the evidence that or the speculations that Jose's had, the speculations that a lot of people have had.
Sure.
Obviously,
could I make a presentation next week for proof of giants?
You could try.
I'm just saying, like, I could probably make as a decent an elevator pitch for just the articles I've come across on the internet that look very legitimate, that could stand up to the same amount of scrutiny.
What about the thumb drive?
Do you wait? Do you
or the density vector research?
No name. Do you believe that?
No.
Or wait. Are you comparing that to what I believe is evidence for this, or are you saying in general?
In general, but I mean, yeah, I could probably frame it in such a way as it followed like the same template, and you know what I mean. Like I could kind of deconstruct your argument, make a template out of it, and then make my own argument for giants using the same template. And would it stand up to the same level of scrutiny? Would it count as
Pose are bad, okay?
I would say better yet.
Is that a bad analogy? If it's a bad analogy, I'll be the first to take it back and try to find.
I would say do that, but why not do it against my point?
Well, no, that's.
I mean, that would be fine too. I mean, I don't mind doing that. It's just one of those things where it's like, can you make the same argument using the same template to prove anything?
Oh, I don't think so. Well, that was the thing.
Unicorn
I don't think so either.
Well, that's the thing, though. I'm not giving you only speculations. I'm giving you evidence that it is a possibility, right? I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it's a possibility of.
Well, Sean, try this one. Try this one, right? A particular physicist that I watch, she explained certain theories about the start of the universe, and there was about 6 of them. And then the last one was the fact that the universe was farted out of a unicorn's ass. Can you prove it didn't happen? Can you show evidence that that's not what happened?
Can you prove that I'm not?
But see, that's the thing. That I'm literally not putting it as a. I'm not giving you evidence that would be far fetched, right?
Yeah, but this is
prove a set of infinites. That's one of the many infinite possibilities. So you don't set out to prove some sort of set of infinite possibilities. You try to narrow it down. So
yeah, that's where I'm getting to. Okay, so you've got a level of evidence, but not a preponderance.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
But to answer no name, like it really depends on the nature of the claim. So, for example, trying to prove or disprove black holes versus giants. If you go online to try to find that, you're going to find a whole crap load of Photoshop pictures that are hoaxes for the giants. You're not going to find a crap load of hoaxed up pictures for the black holes.
No, you'll see one.
You'll also see a boatload of really, really highly accurate simulations, like uncannily so.
Yes, but
And that's not an indictment against the model by any stretch of the imagination. It's a reinforcement of the math. You know, it actually showed what we were hoping or expecting to see based on our model. But you could also flip that and say that they digitally constructed the image to fit their preconceived notion of what they were hoping to find.
yeah. So can I get the mathematical construct for a Victoria's Secret model?
Sorry to shut my brain off for a second there.
42, 36, 42. What a winning hand. I think that works.
But only if she's 5'3".
At Digital, did you see the post I tagged you in?
So I see what you guys are saying in the sense of the evidence, but I'm not pushing to prove that it happened that way.
Okay. None of us were accusing you of that, so nice try.
No, I'm not. Fuck you. No, I'm just trying to say, I'm trying to understand where you guys stand on the topic that I brought it up.
I think
it's plausible. I think it's even possible. I don't think it's likely.
Not confirmed.
I wasn't around when the topic was brought up, so what was the actual topic?
Well, do unicorn farts come from
No,
supermodels or unicorns?
No, it wasn't. It was more along the lines of, guys, stop. It was whether or not earthquakes are possibly man-made or can be possibly man-made versus the natural earthquakes that we see.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, the natural phenomena that we know make earthquakes, they are at a level that is beyond, something that we could possibly fabricate. So you have, entire tectonic plates and abduction and subduction zones. For example, we just can't, fabricate a mountain range out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But but those are naturally occurring phenomena. They're not man-made. So yeah, how would you do it man-made? I mean, we can set off we can set off energetic chain reactions such as a nuclear reaction.
Way.
And how could you funnel that energy into something that could make an earthquake? That's
the best example I can give to that. Like I showed a video earlier, and the guy was explaining it. I've seen a video, and I'm trying to find it in my files, but I gave up. But I'll upload it and I'll show it to everyone. But basically, what it is the idea. He shows an example of if there's a rock on a ledge, and you put a subwoofer behind that, the frequencies of the bass, from that speakers, can trigger the movement of the rock. The rock falls off a hill, and it causes the impact. Well, that's the same idea behind when they use the ionosphere frequencies to do the communication blocking all that crap. That when those frequencies bounce back,
essentially.
Yeah. So you're basically but you're basically talking about the same amount of energy that was in the Chicxulub event.
I don't know what the hell that is.
Okay, Chicxulub was where?
The meteor that wiped out the dinosaurs.
Oh, okay. No. You don't need. Why would it need to be that size?
No, it's the amount of energy that was able to actually fracture the crust to create a tectonic shift.
But again, we're not talking about tectonic. We don't have to be talking about a tectonic shift. We can talk about a triggering a fault line.
Yeah, but to trigger a fault line, there has to be
tectonic shift.
Yeah, you have to have tectonic shift for those fault lines to move in the opposite direction.
Now, if they're on the brink, if a plate is on the brink of movement, and you nudge it, what would happen?
Like I said, I think it's plausible because you could.
Yeah, it's plausible. I think what we would have to go into is, for example, the phenomenon of standing waves, where you can add a little bit of energy at a time to a system at a certain harmonic, and it just builds on itself, builds on itself, builds on itself. You can do that with, for example, a tank of water. So if you add vibrations to it at a certain frequency, those standing waves will just keep on getting higher and higher and higher, and they will stay in the very same place within that actual tank of water. So if you can simulate that throughout the Earth, I guess you could direct enough energy, to nudge something.
But wouldn't you only, so in that case, wouldn't you only need to nudge a certain part of that bucket of water? You wouldn't need to you wouldn't have to be able to move the whole bucket. You just have to be able to get enough of a reaction. And for instance,
you have to
plate,
you have to create that frequency along the whole thing.
Why?
Yeah, you do. But the thing is,
but that's like saying when there's earthquakes.
Container of but see, the container of water is working for you in that respect. It's a feedback loop.
Okay.
So if you can find a certain way of doing that within the Earth's crust, then yeah, you could possibly do something like that. I know it's still in the realm of complete possibility, but
again, the plates the whole plates don't move when there's an earthquake. It's only sections of the plate.
Yeah. But to trigger the event you're saying, it can't just be a couple of 100 meters. It's going to have to be tens to almost 1,000 kilometers of shift to create those fault movements.
Where?
Well, so the tectonic plate, like whether you got subduction or abduction.
Hey, Sean, check out, follow this link that We Need Critical Thinking posted in the YouTube chat.
I'm there right now. Yeah, I already clicked on that.
Because sometimes the tectonic shift isn't up or down; it's across.
Yeah,
it rubs.
Those are the ones that we see here, mainly on the West Coast. Our plate is folding on. It's our plate because the plates are either going to hit each other, create mountains, or they're going to hit each other and create a valley. But the ones that are the worst ones are the ones that slide up under each other.
It's a subduction zone.
Yes.
Yeah, those ones called tsunamis.
Yeah, those are those are the ones that. Well, that's why California's going to break off.
It also looks like Puerto Rico is being twisted at the center of a knot. Like you can see that the plates are moving in a kind of a spiral direction.
So like a pretzel twist. So one goes over and the other one comes under, but it's on the same side.
Right, but they're also moving. What is that? Counterclockwise to each. It's not a straight like line north to south meetup. It's all twisted up.
Yeah, but like say get both your hands and put them side by side. Send one forward and send the other one backwards. That's what's possibly happening.
Yeah, like
so
you're
it's
wringing
not
out a
subduction
towel.
or abduction.
Like you're wringing out a towel, like a wet towel. That's how Redneck explains.
Okay, you're talking about the one he just shared, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at that one right now.
Now, this is from 2011, Sean. So, just say it.
But how do you say it? At the same time, you would have the main issue of what I'm talking about is the fact that when we look at an epicenter and it's shockwaves, basically, we don't see it staying in an epicenter. That's not what we normally would see.
Yeah, it has wave propagation.
Where is that happening in Puerto Rico?
It goes along the fault lines. That's where the propagating waves are.
If that were the case, you would start seeing more earthquakes going further north into Puerto Rico, or even further south, or actually in that case it'd be west to east.
Yeah, but as Slug said, that feedback loop can happen.
But that was in a contained situation, though.
Yeah, that's a contained situation. But you could have a contained situation if the crust substrate changes dramatically. So
But
I mean, we
wouldn't that be a huge
where
drop,
I
though?
live, we have a lot of that.
Say again one more time.
I said, for example, where I live currently in the Pacific Northwest, as you go west to east in the state, the constitution of the crust changes dramatically. When you go into the valleys, and then you go. Ocean is what do you call it? Basalt. You have a whole bunch of basalt there, and then as soon as you get into the coast range, boom, it's something completely different. Then you go into the valleys, and a lot of that is sedimentary, deposits going way down from when there was ancient lakes here, and then it just changes constantly. So I would say if you have the epicenter of one of these earthquakes, and there's drastically different constitutions of the crust from mile to mile, yeah, you could feel it stronger in one area because it's translating that energy better, versus another area that might be, let's say, 10 miles south or something. And that actually did happen here. I remember back in the 90s when I was growing up here, we had I think a 5.9, something like that. And there were parts of, for example, Dayton. It's a little small town that's nearby. Uh, they had a lot of damage there to bridges and so on, and people could feel it a lot better there versus a place that was closer to the epicenter, which is
but that's on because, like you were saying, the geology of the situation. Anywhere if you're on a place like rock, I lived on a mountain, so and everything under me was rock, so I felt hundreds of earthquakes. None of them were worth a shit. So like Metal, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. There are every day hundreds of earthquakes. We just don't feel them. If you live if you live on a place that has rock under you, you feel those.
The only earthquake I ever experienced was about 11, 12 years ago now, when we had that earthquake here, was rattle a bunch of.
Do you remember what the size of it was?
No, sir, I do not. I was my ass in the parking lot of a bar.
Oh, fun. Well, I can tell you right now, because I'm pretty sure my version of earthquake versus Metal's version of earthquakes are different versus someone who also lives in LA. The plate line, the plates, they run away from San Diego. Like once you get to San Diego, they start kind of running back into the ocean. So we don't get the 7.8s that like LA had gotten. When it hits here, it was like a 5.9. I think it was the worst we had. And that's kind of like what Metal was saying, because in local San Diego, we felt a 5.9 from the 7.8 that was in LA, but in the mountains, they felt a 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, even if they were further away, just because it travels and everything moves.
Yeah, Adelaide's the way it is here, we have an immense number of very small fault lines, and they're constantly discharging, their pressure burden. So we get little baby ones constantly, like 2.8, 3.2, and you just don't feel those.
Yeah, you're not the only one. Adelaide gets 3 to 4, up to 2.5 on the Richter scale quakes every day.
Oh, well, we get hundreds. Literally hundreds.
Yeah, but we don't live on a tectonic plate like you do.
You live on a fault line?
Yeah, a fault line. But we live on the oceanic plate. We are smack bang in the middle of it. We don't have subduction or abduction. We only have fault shift.
Those can be big. Well, those can be big enough to feel. I mean, better yet, if they're in that situation.
Yeah, that's the thing. But they're the ones that are shifting, and there's no result of the actual tectonic plate shifting. So there's more to what happens within the plate that's not caused by the actual tectonics.
That's what I was saying earlier. Why couldn't you stress a fault to do the same? And and to me, when you stress a fault, that would give you more of a local earthquake rather than what you would assume to see, or I assume to see at least.
Triggered.
Who?
The fault line.
Oh, but yeah, that's a fun part of it. I mean, it's definitely a top. Like I said, I'm not here to prove that it's happening. I just think it's a strong possibility.
Yeah, the realm of possibilities is endless, but the fact of the matter is, it's happened anyway. So yeah, you're right, Sean. It is a possibility.
Like I said, that's all I can go on. That's it. I'm not here to prove nothing. Just throwing out my 2 cents. And I think I know what you're saying, Digital. I wasn't talking at you. I was just remember there's a whole live stream that's going on too.
Yes, I know.
Just so you know, because you wasn't sure.
And that's why I come here.
And for everyone else, just so you understand, there's so much more to go into this topic that I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that's the end of it. Guess what? We're done. They do it. There'll be a lot more streams about it. I know a lot of people are kind of standoffish on in the voice chat because of the topic, but if you guys want to move to something else, we can. If you guys want to continue on with the topic, we can as well. I just wanted to give you guys an option to topic freely.
Topic freely.
Wait, whoa. We're not talking about pineapple.
Yeah, Sean, we need to do one on the difference between rights and privileges.
Do a peer review?
No, rights and privileges.
There's a huge difference.
Oh, you're talking about from the conversation earlier.
And no, Sean, it's a 1 pound thing of icing that I'm eating tonight.
Damn, dude, what the hell is wrong with you?
I'm trying.
You're roboting right now, Trev. You're roboting right now, Crash.
Back on my smoking. I said I'm trying to cut back on my smoking.
Oh, and in the chat, Jose, no problem, man. I'm like I said earlier. If you want to go into the percentage of how much research I do when someone asks me to look into something, I'm at 1% right now. There's a lot more I gotta look into. I just wanted to bring the topic up so it's out there. But I thank you and have my sympathy out there too, Jose, for your family that's out there. Yeah, I'll do the best I can. Sorry about that, guys. You guys can topic on. I just had noticed Jose said thank you in there.
Yeah, well, so Australia's on fire. We've got a cyclone off the west coast. You got quakes in Puerto Rico. There are quakes in other centers of the world. I think the Earth is trying to tell us something.
Get the fuck off me. Get off my back.
Yeah, we're like flies.
Off my lawn right now.
Get like flies at a barbecue.
And what if that's the situation? What if we're all talking about these conspiracies amongst ourselves, and realistically, Mother Nature's like, I'm gonna get these motherfuckers.
Oh, you mean Planet Earth conspiracy? Yeah, see, look, it's censoring Crash.
No, yeah, Crash has the components to debunk Flat Earth completely, so therefore they shut him down, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Earth is censoring Crash.
That's my favorite one. Okay, so and I gotta do this one. It's so fun. So YouTube, the connection, the encoding with OBS, it's crappy. Shit happens a lot of times. I'll start buffering or something. My Wi-Fi or something happens. There are groups that actually use those as they're censoring me. I'm not sure if you guys heard that. You don't hear that too often.
Stop censoring Davros.
Oh, so stop muting him? Okay.
Mrs. Crash wants the panel to know that he or she believes the planet is a unicorn.
That would be Crash.
Okay. Yeah. Planet is unicorn.
See?
See, he sounds like Unicron.
Sounds like he's trying to step through the time portal barrier or something,
We better get the time team.
You guys seen Ace Ventura where he's in the fake rhino?
Yes.
Sounds like Crash is doing that with the unicorn. Yeah, that's kind of basically the stream for today.
Unicorn.
I don't mind if we go to a different topic or anything. It's just that I kind of want to keep this a topic of it. So I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. We can keep bullshitting here. I don't care. I mainly wanted to get out the information that I had that me and Jose were kind of looking into. And again, Jose, there's going to be so much more. I haven't really even started really digging in yet for the things I need. I just wanted enough to present. Guys, I'm gonna stick around in the Discord. We can keep bullshitting, but I'm gonna end the stream only because I want to keep this one very topic based, and then I wanted to stretch through the live stream with something else.
Well, I thought that was a good presentation.
Work now?
Hell no, it doesn't.
No, Crash.
No.
Shit.
Sean, I thought that was a good presentation, and thank you for allowing me to, object or voice my objections, and thank you for answering my questions about it.
Absolutely. I hope it wasn't and because that you felt I gave. I'm just playing. No, but seriously, if anyone would, I would actually appreciate that happening. If someone goes into what I've gone through, I'll start before I actually end the stream. I'll share every link that I've used so far in this YouTube chat. Please find out where I'm wrong. Please find out where I'm misrepresenting something, because I really want to get to the bottom of it. This has nothing to do with believe me. It's what the hell's going on to me.
And I want to say thank you for broaching topics other than flat Earth.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm not entertaining that no more. Yeah, man, you've been around since I came back again and all that. You know about that yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I catch maybe only 1 out of 7 of your shows. Maybe I got to listen more often, I think.
The only thing, it's only weird because there's a lot of people that I talk to on Jose's. And then like they'll randomly come through and not know, and they'll come in and be like, "Let's talk this, and this." I'm like, nope, because the realization is like I made it. It was pretty. It's when this happened in my brain, I realized it. It was so like mind blowing. Realize this: every topic that Flat Earth talks about is science. We can talk about everything. Just don't come at me like it's changed the shape. And if you do, you have to come at me with science based facts now. You have to come at me with how you scientifically came to that conclusion now, rather than I'm not going to then entertaining it and just to crush someone. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. Yeah, I do go to other channels and talk about it, but not my channel.
Yeah, this is the one that is the perfect catch. I observe it flat and stationary. Well, guess what? I observe it as round and moving.
No, you don't.
That's it. That's how I observe it.
Right,
that's how it presents itself to me.
Yeah, I observe a motion picture as a moving picture, but I know it's not, one continuous moving picture.
Yeah, I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna just do the intro and I'll come right back in.
Go on.
I do appreciate it, Davros, No Name, and Metal. Thank you guys for Crash 2 and your broke ass fucking connection. For interjecting on, because it makes it easier for me not to just go straight complete bias on the conversation. So I do appreciate that.
You're welcome, brother.
All right, I'll be right back. All right, guys. Like I said, I this stream was mainly in the idea of kind of getting into the aspect of could an earthquake be man-made? Is this situation a man-made situation? Is it a natural situation? It's just a insight into looking into it. There's a lot more that I'm going to be looking into, and I'll be streaming some more about it. Don't think that I'm telling you right now that it was man-made. Get off my back. Conspiracy shit. I don't know. Just the possibility of what's going on. Is it possible? Is it logically sound to look into this? And I believe it is. So I hope you guys stick with me on that one, and I will see you guys in the other. I'll probably be over at Jose's or in my Discord. You guys can get the link right here. You guys can join us in the bunker, or you guys I'll see you guys around other streams. I think some other people are streaming. I think the Shills are on right now. Last time I looked, pretty sure. So I end up over there for a second. But I do appreciate everyone that came in, gave their opinion in the chat as well. Thank you. We need critical thinking for the links that you shared. But yeah, I may go on long later. It's actually a really good possibility I'll go on later on, depending on if Jose does or not, or Terry. But definitely tomorrow. And with that said, guys, get the hell out of here and stop biggering your ears. Peace.